Good morning. My name is Paul, and today I'm grateful for my fiance. It's the woman that said yes to me marrying her. Good morning, by the way. Today is day 13 of 365 days of value, where I bring you something good for you up until the day before I get married. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this after I get married because, honeymoon. But up until then, I'm all yours. Today, I actually wanted to talk about a topic that I thought a little bit about last night, yesterday, and this morning. And it's a topic of fear. Now, I have to say this, as somebody who has previously dealt with what do we call it? Paralyzation of fear. Not when it comes to making decisions, but when thinking about what the outcome will be, I can understand what tends to happen when you start to think about all the ways something could go wrong, which is normal. It's human. But I think the things people don't tend to focus on is, man, what if it goes right? What if this actually works? What if this actually goes my way? Part of it too, and I tend to see this a lot with some of our clients, with some people in business as well, where you've never tried something new and you don't know if it's going to work for you, and you're just like, I'm not sure right now. But the big thing is this, and if you've never been one that's been able to invest in those kind of things as well, I'm talking about like marketing sequences, SEO, self-plug, ads, if you have to run those as well. And those all matter too if you're at a certain place in your business life. But even if you're an individual who is just wondering, what if I want to try something new? Well, I'm here to help you today figure this out in 2 simple steps. I'm going to make it super simple and super practical. So here's the thing. Fear tends to leave you in the place you previously were when you did not make a decision, which means nothing has changed. The only thing you did was re-solidify your decision not to grow. Make sense? Fear leaves you in the same position you were before you did not make a decision. Therefore, the only thing that's happened is that you've refused the opportunity to grow because you're not sure if you yourself have the ability to actually complete the task. That's a very real thing. It's a very real place to be. It's a very real struggle to deal with. And I think a lot of people tend to find themselves in that place where it's like, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know. So what does this look like? Can I put my water down, by the way? All right. So what does this look like? Take, for example, when we started our first business. And the thing was this. We'd never done business before. Didn't know anybody who did business. And actually, forget it. Let me give you a practical example. Babe, I'm going to give you a practical example. I'm going to give you a practical example about my relationship. So here's the thing. Up until I met my fiance, I had never really been in a successful relationship. And the thing was, and I understand, part of it was my fault. Part of it was the other person's fault. But just understand, when I met my fiance, I was just like, dog, I'm going to marry that girl one day. That I knew for sure, even though I had not ever been in something successful past 3 months, right? The thing is this. I remember the day that I made the decision to propose to her. She was still my girlfriend at that point, but I made the decision to propose to her. And I knew that, this is kind of scary. Because here's the kicker. I knew she was going to say yes, but in my mind, I still was scared to ask. Make sense? I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do, but still in the moment, I found myself like, you know what I'm saying? Actually, in the moment, too, I stumbled over my words. You see me here talking on live, coherent thoughts, well put together. When I proposed to her, I didn't know what I was saying at all. I don't remember it, thank the Lord, but I just blanked out. And, because it was such a moment where I was like, the gravity of this decision, the gravity of this ask, right? The gravity of this offer, hint, hint, was so big that if I had let fear take over in that moment, I wouldn't be doing these videos right now. I wouldn't be engaged. I wouldn't be asking everybody for their address to put on the list. But I just say this to say, like, understand that it's a very real place. But here's two practical things you could do to be able to kind of overcome that fear when you find yourself in the moment, whatever the moment is, by the way. So here's the first thing you got to do. For me, it always comes down to asking myself, well, what are the alternatives? Meaning, if I choose not to make this decision because fear's in the way, what am I going to get? Now, most of the time, it means I'm going to get more of the same, which is absolutely nothing has changed, and I'm still in the same position, and I'm still stuck, and I'm still wondering how I can get out of my situation because, to do scary things requires courage. And I just understand that, sometimes it can be hard to do that. But I ask myself, what are the alternatives? What choices do I have besides this? Okay, so once I realize, okay, cool, this is my best option, but I'm scared, I start to do the second thing, which is visualize what it actually look like if I get the thing I want to get, if I'm able to do the thing I want to do, if I'm able to overcome this obstacle that I'm facing, right? Now, here's the thing. Fear, and I'm going to say this, and some of y'all might disagree, but I'm going to say it anyway. Fear is actually not real. Fear is just like made up anxiety in our head, at least to me. Fear is made up anxiety in our head about a situation that has not happened. And because you're not familiar with it, there's absolutely no safety. All of a sudden, you're not sure about it. Where if you'd experienced it before, this is why practice makes perfect. If you had experienced it before, you'd be way more willing to try it, right? So understand that a lot of these things happen because, one, we could have either faced rejection. Two, we could have either just, it didn't work out before. Or three, we are just not sure. So we have to ask ourselves, like, yo, what would it look like if this worked out? What would this look like? My bad. My fiance just sat down in front of me. Distracted me. She's amazing. But what would it look like if it actually worked out? What would that process be? What would it feel like? What would the opportunity lead to? And for me personally, those two things are enough. I'm able to go from I wasn't sure to let's just freaking do it. Because guess what? Even if it doesn't work, at least I know one way that I don't have to try anymore. One way I don't have to test anymore. Simply because guess what? It don't work. But I don't allow the opportunity to pass me by simply because I feel afraid. Don't let yourself get into your own head, because here's why. Greg, one of my coaches, actually mentioned that we always have this like, and if you haven't, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out his podcast, The Wealth Code Secrets. But we have this thing where we had these two negotiators constantly negotiating our decisions, right? This morning, I woke up a little later and I negotiated to turn off my alarm so I could sleep in a little bit, right? Now, thank God I'm in a place where I could do that. But we always have these negotiators that allow us to be in position. So in that position where you are feeling fear, you have a negotiator. One negotiator is telling you like, yo, you should do this anyway. Don't be afraid. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Don't let the moment be too big. Be an athlete, right? Don't let the moment be too big. But we had the other negotiator saying, I'm not sure. Maybe we shouldn't expose ourselves. Maybe we shouldn't put ourselves in a position where it's like, I will fail and I will be embarrassed, and all of a sudden, nothing is gonna go right ever again. Don't put yourself in that position, because that's just a weird place to be, right? So don't let those negotiators just negotiate all the time. Well, let me say it like this: your habits, get into the habit of actually learning to confront a lot of things. I think that's what tends to help the negotiator. That's the positive one. Help you win. Get into the habits of learning to actually overcome and try new things. Easiest way to do is to just find the most random new thing you could try and learn, as long as it's safe. And, safe physically. And try it. Try new things. Say hi to strangers. Get into the process of putting yourself in a position where you normally don't do it, but, you want to give it a swing because it's new. It's different. Get into that habit. Here's the thing. The bigger the moment, the bigger the opportunity, but the more fear you may actually find yourself dealing with. So if you get into that routine, that rhythm of doing things, all you're going to have to do is negotiate yourself into doing something, and it's not going to be something that's too big to overcome. So that's all I got. Those are the two things, man. Analyze. What would it look like? And two, what would it actually be if I do it? Use those things, man. Overcome your fear, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.